let's say that you're on the fence to install two similar packages, but you're not quite sure which one you want to pick. One criteria you might think about is the bloat factor, or at the very least, how big is it is on disk. Because, when it comes to bloat, things like memory and CPU might be a bit more important, especially if you're dealing with something like a couple of megs when you have a terabyte hard drive. But in any case, Pacman as well as apt, these are both very popular package management tools for Arch Linux as well as Debian-based distros. They give you the tools to be able to see the file size of packages before you install them, with and without dependencies included. So let's start with Pacman first here because I am running Arch. We'll get to Debian in a bit. I'll run that in a container. But yeah, we can go ahead and just get information about a package that's not already installed here. Something like SwayBG, right? Maybe you want to set your wallpaper if you're using Wayland. We can see right away the download size is about 15K, installed size is about 34K. And another tool that's comparable, it's going to also set wallpapers on Wayland, is SWWW. In this case, it's about 2 megs to download and 8.5 megs to install. Now, one important thing to note here is this is not including dependencies. This is just for the package itself. So you can see right away SwayBG is a lot smaller, but maybe in the end, it's possible that installing SWWW will have less disk space because maybe, the dependencies themselves are smaller than these. But really, it depends. But in any case here, let's say that you wanted to see what it would be like to really install SwayBG in your system. Like, what is it going to actually require new disk space, depending on what you have installed already. You can actually just do like a fake install. Let's say, Pacman SYU, and we'll do SwayBG. And again, the output of this is going to depend on what you have installed in your system. I'm actually not going to install it. We're going to Control-C out of here. But in this case here, I've already had the dependencies installed on my system. So SwayBG's dependencies, they're already there. Other tools are using them. So we don't actually need to install them on the system. So the true, installed size here will really be about 0.03 megs. And we can do the same thing for SWWW. And then we can see here also the true size is about 8.5 megs, let's call it. Because dependencies for both of them are already installed. So for example, yeah, we can actually check this with Pacman, I think it's Q, and then we can do something like grep this for LZ4. That's already been installed, glibc, there we go, that's already installed. What about GCC libs? I'm just reading it from here, by the way, depends on. And then also this David one with a number 1, okay? So yeah, like all of these dependencies are already installed. So there's nothing new to install. So yeah, really it comes down to actually, in this case, this is the exact factor here that's gonna be new on the system. But yeah, let's do something different. Let's go and take a look here, maybe at something like, I don't know, Firefox, let's call it. Cool, okay, so it's going to be 265 megs to install it, quite a few different dependencies here. I know Firefox is not installed in this system here because I'm running WSL2, so Firefox is not installed within there. But if we do that here, then we can start seeing that, well, I guess I got to pick some extra fonts or whatever. Yeah, default one's fine. But here you can see, all sorts of different dependencies of Firefox are being installed. And really the whole entire thing to be installed will be 420 megs instead of that 265. So that's why it's really nice to be able to actually do this here to see the actual true size depending on the state of your system. So yeah, that's one way to do it there for Pacman. Now let's say that you want to do the same thing or something comparable for Debian-based systems using apt. So in that case here, I'm going to have to run a container. So let's do that interactive, make sure the container gets removed afterwards. Then I'll just grab, I don't know, maybe the latest stable version of Debian. I already have it, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I'm going to pop into a container right now. So let's first do an apt-get update. And then I guess we'll maybe compare different packages than Sway stuff because that's like SwayBG, etc. It's not going to be available. Maybe not with those package names. I don't really know. But yeah, we can just do an app show on, I don't know, maybe let's say curl, popular HTTP client. Here we can see that the download size is about 270K, and then also install size is about 0.5 meg. So we can compare that with something like wget, which is another HTTP client. Here we can see the download size is about 1 meg, and then let's call it 4 megs, whatever, for the install size. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean curl is better than wget because it's smaller, but just so happens in this case, I tend to use curl a little bit more than wget. But we can also see, look, there's a list of dependencies for wget as well as list of dependencies for curl. Right away, we can see that curl is not only smaller in itself as the tool, but it also requires less dependencies. But again, if this one dependency is 500 gigs and this one is like 2 kilobytes, then you can't just say, oh, there's only 3 dependencies here versus however many that is. We can do the same thing. And again, these is all, just install size here for actually curl itself and wget, not including dependencies. So we can do the same type of thing here where we would do something like an apt-get install and then curl. I'm not going to pass in -y there because we actually want to see like, okay, cool. Installing curl is actually going to be 21 megs here on disk. That's dependencies included. So let's do the same thing here for wget and see what the result is here. So in this case with wget, it's actually smaller. That's a great example. I actually didn't plan this out on video, but we can see right away that, this is only going to install 16 megs of additional things because I guess, we had less dependencies already installed here when it came to curl. But again, it's really going to depend on whatever system that you have. Maybe if you have other tools installed on your system, maybe you already have some of these dependencies, so curl will actually be smaller. But again, it's pretty unlikely I would ever pick a package based solely on its disk space. But if you're going for a really minimal setup and that's a really important factor, that's how you can compare the two, at least on two popular package management tools on two different distros of Linux. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer all of them. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help a lot. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.